I never thought I'd be the kind of woman to plot revenge, but life has a way of surprising you. My name is Laura Bennett, a 48-year-old graphic designer and children's book author living in the suburbs of Seattle, Washington. For the past decade, I've been quietly earning $750,000 a year, a secret I kept even from my husband Mark, when he blindsided me with divorce papers and ran off with my best friend, Jessica. I decided it was time to turn the tables. This is the story of how I rebuilt my life and made sure they paid for their betrayal. Mark and I met in our senior year of high school in Portland, Oregon. I was the artsy girl, always sketching in the margins of my notebooks, while Mark was the charming quarterback with a smile that could light up a room. Jessica, my best friend since middle school, was the cheerleader who always seemed to get what she wanted. I thought Mark had a crush on her. Everyone did. But when he asked me out just before we all headed off to college, I was floored. I'd secretly liked him for years. After talking it over with Jessica, who gave me her blessing, I said yes. We started dating, and it felt like a dream. Jessica had always been a bit of a wild card. Even as teenagers, she had a habit of flirting with other people's boyfriends, only to dump them once they were hooked. Her parents were worried about her behavior, so Mark and I often kept an eye on her, hoping she'd settle down. Despite her flaws, she was still my best friend, and I trusted her. Mark and I got married at 25, right after I graduated from the University of Washington with a degree in graphic design. We settled into a cozy, craft-style home in Seattle, a place I'd bought as a studio space when I started freelancing. Mark moved in with me since he couldn't afford a place of his own on his entry-level salary as a sales rep. Our marriage was happy at first. We loved our freedom. No kids, just the two of us, traveling to places like Napa Valley for wine tastings or taking the Amtrak Cascades up to Vancouver for long weekends. We both adored children, but we agreed early on that parenting wasn't for us. We'd smile at families in the park, but that was as far as it went. Meanwhile, Jessica met a man named David, a software engineer at a big tech firm in Silicon Valley. She brought him to meet us during a Thanksgiving gathering in 2010. David was polite, ambitious, and seemed like a perfect match for her. The four of us hit it off, often meeting up for holidays or taking group trips to places like Lake Tahoe or the Oregon coast. But things started to unravel when Jessica got pregnant 2 years into her marriage. Mark and I were happy for her, but his behavior began to change. He quit smoking because Jessica said the smell made her nauseous. Then he started taking time off work to drive her to doctor's appointments in Bellevue, even though David could have easily done it. I warned Mark that David might not appreciate him being so involved, but Mark brushed me off. "You're always working, Laura," he snapped. "She's our best friend, and she needs help. You're being cold-hearted." I tried to explain that I'd been helping in my own way, buying baby clothes, helping with nursery decor, but I drew the line at Mark playing the role of a stand-in husband. "If she's anxious about her checkups, that's all the more reason for David to be there," I said. "You going with her every time makes it look like you're the father." Mark's face darkened. "Are you jealous? We're not having kids anyway, so what's your problem?" His words stung. We'd rarely fought in our marriage, but Jessica's pregnancy seemed to drive a wedge between us. After Jessica gave birth to her daughter Lily, Mark's involvement only grew. He'd spend weekends at Jessica's house, helping with Lily while David was away on business trips. I'd tag along sometimes, but it always felt off. Then, when Lily was 6, a big incident happened. It was the day before her kindergarten graduation in 2018. Mark was rummaging through our closet, pulling out his suits. His company had a casual dress code, but he kept a few suits for client meetings. "What are you doing?" I asked. "I've got a meeting tomorrow." "I'm picking an outfit for Lily's graduation," he said casually. I froze. "You're seriously going to her graduation?" I asked, my voice rising. "David can't make it, so Jessica asked me to go," Mark replied, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. I couldn't believe it. "That's absurd, Mark. You're not her parent. It's not your place." His face turned red. You still don't trust me and Jessica? I'm disappointed in you, Laura. I'm going, so iron my shirt. He stormed off to the bedroom, leaving me stunned. I called Jessica to confront her. Jessica, about tomorrow. Mark going to the graduation? Won't David be upset? She laughed lightly. Oh, I haven't told David about the graduation. I'll let him know after it's over. I was floored. Jessica, that's completely unfair to David. He deserves to know about his daughter's events. She brushed me off. Relax, Laura. You're overreacting. See you tomorrow. She hung up, leaving me trembling with anger. Despite my frustration, I ironed Mark's shirt and saw him off the next morning. From then on, Mark and Jessica started spending more time together. First once a month, then once a week, then 3 times a week. Even David began to suspect something. One evening, while Mark and Jessica were out, David showed up at our house. I'm sorry to come by so late, he said, his face pale. I need to talk. He showed me the tire history from Jessica's car. She'd been staying at a hotel in downtown Seattle 3 times a week, always on the days she was with Mark. The truth hit me like a ton of bricks. They were having an affair. What do you want to do, David? I asked, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. I want revenge, he said. So do I replied. We started planning in secret. I ramped up my work as a children's book author, a career that had taken off over the years. I'd been earning $750,000 annually, but I'd kept it hidden, funneling most of it into savings and investments. Mark thought I was just a modestly successful freelancer. Meanwhile, David switched to remote work, and when Mark and Jessica were out, he'd bring Lily to my house. We took care of her together, gathering evidence of their affair without them suspecting a thing. As we prepared our revenge, we uncovered a shocking truth. Lily was Mark's biological daughter. David and I were devastated, but we agreed not to hurt Lily. She was innocent in all this. We decided to wait until she was older to act. But then, in 2022, I was diagnosed with a serious illness, stage 3 breast cancer. I needed long-term treatment, including chemotherapy and a double mastectomy. At best, I'd be in the hospital for 18 months. I could still work from my hospital room, but my workload had to decrease significantly. I told Mark about my diagnosis, hoping for support. His response was cold. I'll visit when I can, he said, not even asking about my treatment or prognosis. He only came to see me once every 6 weeks, if that. Meanwhile, Lily, who had been visiting me almost daily, started acting distant after her 15th birthday in 2023. David and I couldn't figure out why, and she wouldn't talk about it. One day, after not seeing him for 2 months, Mark walked into my hospital room without knocking. He looked different, flashier, with a new leather jacket and a smug grin. He handed me a divorce lawyer's business card. I'm divorcing you, Laura. Since you're not working, you'll pay me $2,000 a month in alimony. Take care, he said, chuckling. Beside him stood Jessica, her arm wrapped around his, mirroring his expression. I stayed calm. Fine, let's divorce, I said casually. Mark seemed surprised by my lack of reaction, but he quickly smirked at Jessica. I'd been expecting this. Mark wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, which made my plan easier. Once the divorce was finalized, I set my revenge in motion. First, I contacted David, and we arranged for me to transfer to a hospital closer to his new home in Tacoma. David moved there with Lily, and they started visiting me daily. Lily still seemed withdrawn, but I was grateful for her presence. I told Mark to dispose of my belongings at our old house. I didn't want anything he and Jessica might have touched in my new life. A few days later, Mark called me in a panic. My phone showed 25 missed calls. What the hell is going on? He shouted. I could hear a real estate agent in the background, along with Jessica yelling. What do you mean? I asked coolly. Why do we have to move out of the house? He demanded. I smiled to myself. Because it's my house, Mark. He'd forgotten that the house we lived in was one I'd bought as a studio space before we got married. Mark had never paid rent or utilities. I'd covered everything. I'd canceled the lease the day after filing for divorce, since it was too far from my new hospital. The real estate agent had informed him, but apparently, he hadn't taken it seriously. George and Lily disappeared, and now the house is gone. What are we supposed to do? Mark yelled. Maybe stay at a motel for now, I suggested, turning on speakerphone. As I worked on a new illustration. Don't mess with me, Laura. When are you sending the money? We're running low on cash. I laughed. I never agreed to pay you $2,000, Mark. He screamed incoherently, clearly having spent money he didn't have, assuming I'd foot the bill. We're strangers now, Mark. Don't contact me again. You'll hear from my lawyer. I hung up, ignoring his repeated calls. Mark's childish behavior didn't stop there. He started dodging my lawyer's calls, which only made things worse for him. A few months later, after a temporary discharge from the hospital, I visited Mark's parents in Portland. Mark and Jessica were there, looking defeated. Telling my parents was a low blow, Mark snapped. I just told them we got divorced, I replied. Mark glared at me, but shrank under his father's stern gaze. Mark's parents had always treated me like a daughter. They knew we didn't want kids and respected our choice. They'd been kind to Jessica too, but there was always a clear boundary. Is it true you're marrying Jessica? Mark's father asked. Yes, Mark said. We're starting over as a family with Lily. His father's face darkened. Your only family is Laura. Mark's words, she's not my family anymore, made his mother gasp. Then Mark handed me a bill from a luxury hotel in downtown Seattle, where he and Jessica had been staying. What's this? I asked. The hotel bill. You're paying it, he said, before collapsing into a chair. What the heck, Mark? I didn't raise you like this, his mother said, her voice trembling. Mark and Jessica looked stunned. Why are you so angry? The family's just changing, Mark said. You'll have a grandchild, a real one. Aren't you happy? His mother turned to me, her eyes full of pain. I knew she wouldn't accept this. Jessica, oblivious, chimed in. You do love Lily, right? She's your grandchild. Half of her blood is Mark's. I felt a chill at her lack of remorse. Then a voice cut through the tension. Enough. It's disgusting, Lily said from the corner of the room, her eyes glued to her phone. The room fell silent. My dad, David, is the only father I'll ever have, blood or not. He's always been there for me, even when you kept him in the dark about my school events. She glared at Jessica, then turned to me with a softer expression. When I found out about this, I thought you'd hate me, Laura. But Dad said you wouldn't. That's why I came today. I teared up. Lily, I love you so much. You were so kind to visit me in the hospital. I was so happy. She hugged me tightly, her own tears falling. Despite everything, I'd cared for Lily for 15 years. I couldn't not love her. Speaking of which, Jessica, I said, weren't you curious why I wasn't surprised to learn Lily is Mark's daughter? Before she could answer, David walked in. We've known for 10 years, he said. Jessica looked shocked. I was stunned when you demanded a divorce, David continued. But you're not divorced yet. The papers are still pending. And in Washington, there's a 90-day waiting period before you can remarry. Jessica's face fell. So you're still my wife and Lily is still my daughter, though not for long. Lily, now 15, had the right to choose her guardian under Washington law. She took my hand, making her choice clear. Mark burst into laughter. So you two are together now. Good luck living on David's salary. I smiled. You don't know about my income, do you, Mark? He scoffed. What, a little more than a part-time job? I pulled out my phone and showed him my bank account. My annual income is $750,000. Mark and Jessica's jaws dropped. Over the past decade, I'd become a best-selling children's book author, with movie deals and merchandise in the works. Let's make up, Laura, Mark stammered. But Jessica slapped his arm, furious. Ignoring them, I took Lily's hand, said goodbye to Mark's parents, and left. Mark's father, who owned the company where Mark worked, fired him for lying about his sales trips. He forced Mark to work on a friend's fishing boat off the coast of Alaska, a grueling job for someone who preferred the indoors. Mark tried contacting me, but I reported him to his father, and the calls stopped. Jessica lost custody of Lily to David and was finally divorced. Disowned by her family, she ended up in a rundown apartment in Tacoma, working multiple part-time jobs to pay child support and living expenses. Lily, now in high school, is working hard to study abroad at a top university. She dreams of translating my picture books for children worldwide, which fills me with pride. As for me, my books are selling better than ever, with animated adaptations on the horizon. My cancer is in remission, and my doctor says I might be discharged next year. David and Lily visit me daily, and recently, David proposed. I haven't answered yet, but I can't deny my feelings for him. He wants us to live together once I'm out of the hospital. As I work on my next book, I dream of a happy future for us. A future built on trust, love, and a little bit of sweet revenge. Looking back on this journey, I've learned a powerful lesson that I want to share with all of you. Always protect your financial independence, no matter how much you trust the people around you. I kept my income a secret, not out of deceit, but because I wanted to ensure I'd never be left vulnerable. In the U.S., where 50% of marriages end in divorce and unexpected health crises can drain your savings, having your own financial safety net isn't just smart, it's essential. Whether you're married, single, or in retirement, take control of your finances. Open a separate savings account, invest in your skills, and never stop building your own security. Life can throw curveballs, but with financial independence, you'll always have the power to catch them and throw them right back. My story is proof that resilience and self-reliance can turn even the darkest moments into a new beginning. What do you think of my journey? Have you ever faced betrayal and turned it into a comeback? I'd love to hear your stories. Drop them in the comments below. If you enjoy deep, emotional, and meaningful stories like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new update. Your support is the motivation that drives us to keep bringing you powerful stories. Once again, thank you for being here, and see you in the next story.